Aurora and Arthur Petrova, the most catastrophic cake bake in the world. It is Friday, the 1st of December, 2017, in Great Badow, where the frosty night air is sharp and keen. At 18:45, the clock chimes a rhythmic, steady beat as Petar prepares for the Lister Hospital's nocturnal heat. A nurse so notorious for care, with blue glasses on his face, he checks his itinerary, moving at a professional pace. Dovistan, he calls, his voice a warm, melodic sound, while Marija, in vibrant orange, stands on familiar ground. Inside 18 Harroway, where Balkan treasures gleam, the atmosphere is heavy, like a long, monotonous dream. Aurora and Arthur are bored, their spirits start to sink, watching Disney Junior until they can no longer even blink. This show is proper infantile, Arthur says with a heavy sigh, adjusting his green glasses as the animated world rolls by. Aurora, with long locks and pink frames, finds it a chore. She reckons they need some action, something more than a bore. Harlow the Dalmatian observes them with a dignified stare, while Kiev the ginger tabby sits with a most loquacious air. "I say," Harlow barks in English, formal and quite refined. A pursuit of such boredom suggests a most stagnant mind. Kiev licks a paw, his orange fur a fiery silken glow. To adjudicate their choices is a task for those who know. They seek a distraction, a whimsical, wild endeavor, though their lack of a plan is by no means particularly clever. "Let's bake a cake," Aurora cries, ecstatic and bright. "A culinary masterpiece to illuminate the night." Arthur agrees, though the idea is utterly ludicrous. "No scales needed, Aurora. It'll be proper scrumptious." They omit the instructions. They ignore every rule, treating the kitchen like a chaotic, flour-filled school. They march to the pantry with a reckless, bold stride, with nowhere for the sugar and the butter to hide. Aurora heaves a bag of flour, 10 kilos at the least, determined to create a giant carbohydrate feast. The paper tears abruptly with a sharp and sudden crack, sending white, powdery clouds in a blinding, dusty attack. It coats her pink glasses. It frosts her long, dark hair, creating a snowy landscape in the heated kitchen air. "A blizzard," she giggles, her voice high and bright, embracing the chaos of the flowery, white night. Arthur ignores the mess, his focus sharp and green, the most reckless young baker that the world has ever seen. He grabs a block of butter, cold and hard as a stone, and flings it at the bowl with a triumphant, joyful moan. Thwack! It bounces wildly, then slides across the floor, near the old kitchen cabinets and the heavy pantry door. "Measurement is for losers," Arthur laughs with a grin, as the most abysmal baking session is about to begin. Harlow watches the butter slide with a look of pure disdain, thinking of the logic that has clearly gone down the drain. A precarious position for a dairy product indeed. He barks to Kiev, who watches with calculated greed. "The floor is now a hazard," Kiev notes with a purr, licking the flour from his orange and silken fur. They lack the precision, they lack the culinary art, putting the metaphorical horse long before the cart. The sibilant sound of pouring sugar fills the heated air, as Arthur adds ingredients with a wild, infantile flair. He doesn't assess the volume, he doesn't check the heat, he just wants something sugary and exceptionally sweet. He grabs a jar of strawberry jam, a red and sticky lake, to exacerbate the texture of their experimental cake. Sticky red droplets land on his shirt and his nose, as the mountain of sugar in the mixing bowl grows. Aurora stirs the mixture with a wooden, heavy spoon, humming a frantic, disorganized, and off-key tune. The batter is a grayish sludge, thick and quite bizarre, injected with the contents of a very sticky jar. "In 3 weeks, Harlow, we'll be in Springfield, you'll see. 33 Falmouth Road is the only place for me." She dreams of the transition, the move that's soon to come, while the kitchen's cacophony makes the very air hum. "The oven must be scorching," Arthur declares with a shout, turning all the dials until the heat starts to pour out. He ignores the temperature. He ignores the preheat light, determined to finish their masterpiece within the night. The rack is tilted sideways, a precarious metal shelf, a danger to the kitchen and to Arthur's very self. He slides the heavy bowl onto the metal, heated wire, fueling the flames of his misplaced culinary fire. They sit upon the tiles to wait for the dough to rise, watching the oven door with wide and hopeful eyes. "I reck the BMW estate is faster than the old Vectra car," Arthur says, thinking of journeys that are particularly far, "and better than the Audi that sits broken on the drive." Aurora adds, feeling lucky to be energetic and alive. They speak of Essex streets and the house on Harrow Way, while the cake inside the oven begins to turn to gray. Harlow and Kiev sit nearby, their noses in the air, sensing a dark aroma and a feeling of despair. The olfactory evidence suggests a charred event. Harlow remarks, wondering where the baking logic went. Kiev sniffs the breeze, his whiskers twitching fast. The sweetness of the sugar is a memory of the past. It smells of acrid carbon and a burning sticky goo, a substandard outcome for this energetic two. A thin wisp of gray smoke begins to curl and to creep from the edges of the oven where the heat is dark and deep. Aurora's eyes go wide behind her pink and foggy frames as she sees the flickering of tiny orange flames. "It's an eyesore," she cries, her voice a frantic pitch, as the oven starts to sputter with a sharp electric twitch. The smell of burning sugar starts to permeate the room, a dark, charred aroma that spells certain, smoky doom. Arthur grabs a tea towel and flings the door open wide, revealing the disaster that was hidden deep inside. The cake is now a charcoal slab, marred and quite burnt, a lesson in catastrophe that's clearly being learnt. Thick smog fills the kitchen in a suffocating cloud. As Arthur coughs and splutters, his gasps are sharp and loud. The mixture has erupted, like a dark volcanic flow, leaving a trail of wreckage in the oven's orange glow. The clock strikes 2100, the door creaks open wide, and Maria steps into the mess with nowhere left to hide. The kitchen is a cacophony of smoke and sticky jam, a scene of total carnage, a domestic sugary sham. She is appalled and livid, her orange clothes aglow. "Kakvo etova?" she demands, her voice rhythmic and low. The irony of their treat is now painfully clear, as Maria's stern expression brings a sudden, chilly fear. She marches to the counter, her eyes fixed on the boy, whose reckless baking choices have destroyed her evening joy. Arthur stands there frozen, a spoon held in his hand, caught amidst the wreckage of the disaster they had planned. "You did this without asking. You did this with no care." Maria's voice is thunder in the smoke-filled kitchen air. The silence that follows is heavy, sharp, and deep, a memory of failure that they'll both forever keep. Aurora is crestfallen, her pink glasses fogged with mist. The weight of the disaster is too heavy to resist. Inconsolable and sobbing, she begins to loudly weep, while the secrets of the kitchen are no longer hers to keep. "I'm sorry, Mamite," she wails, her heart filled with regret. "It's the most abysmal failure that the world has ever met." She hides her face in shame, her shoulders shaking fast, as her dreams of a masterpiece are shattered at the last. Maria sees her daughter, so fragile and so small, and the anger she was feeling starts to crumble and to fall. She moves toward Aurora with a soft and steady pace, a look of gentle mercy dawning on her tired face. "Mila moya," Maria whispers, "do not be so sad. The kitchen can be mended, it is really not that bad. The house on Harrow Way is filled with a sudden soft grace, as a mother's gentle love finds its rightful holy place." "Arthur," Maria commands, Get the sponge and get the pail before the sticky residue begins to leave a trail. Arthur starts to clean the floor, albeit rather slow, watching as the soapy bubbles start to sparkle and to glow. He scrubs at the butter and the jam upon the tile, working with a quiet and a very humbled style. The transition from the chaos to a state of peace is fast, as he rectifies the errors of the catastrophic past. Kiev sits upon the counter, adjudicating the toil, watching as the boy removes the sugary, burnt soil. A valiant effort, Kiev purrs to rectify the crime, cleaning up the evidence in record-breaking time. Harlow wags his tail nearby, his formal air put aside, watching as the siblings work with nothing left to hide. Indeed, the Dalmatian barks, the order is restored. A better outcome, surely, than being merely bored. The sabotage dessert is tossed into the kitchen bin, as a sense of quiet harmony begins to settle in. Aurora helps to clear the bowls and wipe the flour away, ending the disasters of this first December day. We move in 3 weeks, darling, to a kitchen shiny and new, where we can bake together, just me and both of you. Maria leads them from the room, her spirit calm and bold, leaving the scorched memories of the kitchen to turn cold. Maria helps Aurora wash the flour from her hair, treating every tangled strand with exclusive, tender care. In the warm and steamy bathroom, the orange of her sleeves hides the history on her skin that no one else perceives. You are a brilliant girl, Aurora. Despite the cake you burnt, think of all the lessons that today you've clearly learned. Aurora looks into the glass and sees a smile appear, replacing all the sadness and the dark, abysmal fear. The night is cold and silent, the December moon is high, hanging like a silver coin within the Essex sky. The children climb into the bed, the big bed soft and wide, feeling safe and cozy with their mother by their side. Aurora wears her pink pajamas, Arthur wears his green, the most contented siblings that the world has ever seen. They whisper of the move and of the Falmouth Road front door, not worried about baking or the messes on the floor. Petar is in Stevenage, working through the night, while at 18 Harroway they douse the kitchen light. Harlow and Kiev curl up tight upon the floral rug, feeling just as cozy as a literal warm bug. A catastrophic Friday ends in blankets and in rest, finding that a mother's love is always truly best. The pets close their eyes as the winter shadows creep, and the house on Harroway falls into a peaceful sleep.